Hey, what's up? So today we got some more Garo, but this time, this is going to be the first issue from the 80s that I'm showcasing on my channel. So if you've watched my previous Garo videos, they're mainly from the 60s and 70s so far. I have read more outside of that in terms of all the Garo issues that I have bought and actually read through so far. But in this case for the channel, first time showcasing an 80s issue. This one is the 1983 issue from August with a cover by King Terry. Teruhiko Yumura, Terry Johnson, however you want to call him. So King Terry normally does these Garo cover arts for like specific years. So I believe for the whole year of 1983, he did all the covers, all 12 issues. He has also done covers in I think the late 70s and also late 80s as well. So he's done a bunch of different covers for Garo, and this is just one of them that he has put out. So love the colors in this one. And we've got some adverts at the back as well. But yeah, because this is the first time that I'm showcasing an 80s issue on the channel, you'll find that it'll be pretty different to all the content that you're probably used to seeing from the 60s and 70s. So you won't be seeing any Shirato Sanpei, you won't be seeing any Tsuge Yoshiharu or anything like that. It's more leaning towards Heta Uma. And actually, now that I think about it, I have shown off 80s, probably have shown off 80s issues before, but I haven't done a dedicated video on it, on just the issue alone. So that's what I'm going to do today. This one is one of my favorite Garo issues that I've read in general, and also pretty good quality for the actual issue itself. So what we start off with is, you'll probably just recognize from the art alone, is that we start off with a color chapter by Maruo Suehiro, who you may know as the creator of Midori or Shoujo Tsubaki. He does Eroguro works, and this first story is titled My Boyhood or My Youth. And what it is that it's a series of different scenes that depict a childhood ravaged by war. And this specific chapter as well is you can find in the tankobon DDT. So DDT is a manga that includes different one-shots by Maruo that were, I think, created from 1981 to 1983. So this one is included in that. And the chapter itself has a bunch of different references to different things as well. But the main thing is, of course, is very detailed art. A lot of the cool patterns here that are very satisfying to look at. And in terms of Maruo being in Garo, his very first one-shot in Garo was in 1982. So not long before this specific chapter here, but very, very cool chapter. It's pretty much like a flex for him, just showcasing his artistic ability with these scenes like this. Very strange, weird, but also wonderful at the same time. But yeah, so you do see Maruo didn't only publish in Garo, he published in other places as well. But yeah, in terms of Garo, his Garo debut was in 1982. So we move on to the next one shot here. This is a chapter that I believe is pronounced Shakaijin, which normally means like a working person, salaryman type of thing. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be misinterpreting, but the middle character, the middle kanji is replaced by the kanji that is for like mystery or wonder in Kaiki. And this is by Kawasaki Yukio, who debuted in 1971 in Garo. So also 71, if you think about it, in terms of all the other issues that I've shown off, in the 70s you have Hayashi Seiichi, Tsuge Brothers, You have Sasaki Maki as well. So kind of a different era. And you'll notice from this issue too, a lot of different artists, if I didn't mention before. And again, leaning more towards Heta Uma. So this specific chapter was pretty confusing for me. I didn't understand it fully. I'll explain what I got from it, but continuing the pattern from Maruo in the chapter we saw before from DDT, a lot of cool patterns as well. So we follow a working man, a salary man, who goes out at night for like a cigarette, and he meets like these mysterious people, meets this guy here, and just zooming in here, this is what I mean by all the cool patterns. You got his shirt, got these weird backgrounds as well, but it is a very dreamlike story in this case. Yeah, he follows this guy to this random place. There's like a meeting of sorts. Not entirely sure what it is exactly about, but yeah, he goes out, meets some more people, and he sees this person here with the sort of eye pattern. I believe this person is supposed to be like a recurring character in Kawasaki's works. Meets him there and becomes very psychedelic, the backgrounds and everything. And he sort of disappears in this fashion of like a kaleidoscope of patterns, I guess. The next day when he wakes up, he goes to find the place gone, can't find the man or the people at all. So yeah, I'm not too entirely sure if this specific story was a part of any of Kawasaki Yukio's other works, because this is, I believe, yes, a recurring character that you see in his other stories, but I'm not too knowledgeable about Kawasaki Yukio, so I can't really give a definite answer for that, so I apologize. But yeah, I will put, as usual for all the Garo videos that I do and all the magazines that I do, I'll put them down, all the mangaka names, the story names, and the Japanese as well, so you can like copy and paste and search it up yourself if you want to. But yeah, so we'll move on to the third chapter of this issue. This is a story by a mangaka named Michiyo Matsumoto. It's called Ventilation. So this person I have not read a chapter from before. I'm not familiar with their works, but they debuted in Garo in 1982. They also published in Axe as well. So again, another mangaka who only debuted just like a year before this. So in this case, what we have is a woman who is searching for her boyfriend in this sort of metaphorical hide and seek game. But over the course of this chapter, she realizes that she doesn't need her boyfriend anymore and that she can live on her own. She's better off on her own. But this, to me, I love this art style. It's a very simple one, but the facial expressions are very strong, and the story does seem like drama-like. It does remind me a little bit of Yamada Murasaki, a little bit, but that one's a really good one as well. So Michiyo Matsumoto, not too entirely sure about what they do normally, but I should also showcase here. This is the ending of it, where she accepts that she is better off on her own. All right, so the next story we have, I won't be able to show a couple of scenes of this because it's pretty intense, pretty disgusting too, honestly. This is a story that's called Flashback. So yeah, this is a story called Flashback by a mangaka named Nagata Tomato. And he, in terms of the stuff he's published in Garo, this is the very first one shot he published in Garo, actually. He only did a couple, but I believe he does other erotic Edo works from my memory. But Flashback is a little bit of a crazy one because it follows this man over here who feels like he's going crazy. So he's experiencing hallucinations. He's going crazy, tries to like get rid of that feeling. But no matter what he does, nothing works. So at one point he tries to shoot himself, does not work. And so let me just quickly check if the next page is... I mean, okay, yeah, I guess I can show this next page because it doesn't look that bad. But if I talk about the contents of it, so here what is happening is, and I'll just move it a while I explain it, he does all these things to try and like wipe away this feeling of being crazy, trying to get rid of the hallucinations. And one of the things that he does is he eats his own shit. Literally, what was on the plate beforehand was him eating his own shit. And there's like a hallucination of him telling him stop and all of that. And in a sort of frenzy, he shoots his reflection, but it turns out that when we wake up to reality, he's just killed all of these people around him instead. So all of his hallucinations, whatever he's doing, all the violent things that he was doing was actually happening in real life, but instead of himself, it was just the people around him. And he's a psycho, but in this last page here, he realizes that it feels good. That's what it says here, kimochi. He likes that thrill, or I guess it's either he has succumbed to it, accepted it, that sort of thing. But yeah, crazy one. That eating scene though disgusted me to hell. So I hated reading that, but interesting nonetheless. So that was what was it called again? That was Flashback by Nagata Tomato. So we move on to another one, which is a completely different vibe from the Tomato chapter. We've got a story that is titled Ruuni's Summer Holiday by Haga Yuka. And I have showcased a book of Haga Yuka's works on the channel before. It was this one here, Otsukari Okyakusama. I did not read it. I showed it off in a manga haul. I still have not read it yet. But this specific chapter was in that tankobon. And I have explained it before, but I'll go through it again. This one's a very strange one. We follow Ruuni, who visits her family in like a rural town or something like that. And what happens is that when she goes, well, firstly, the family showcases like the vineyards that they have, and these weirdly giant grapes that are just sitting around. So she goes and, you know, they have some of it. But one day she goes to explore the vineyards, the grapes, and she finds like this field of fossils of like dinosaur bones, it looks like. So when she goes out and brings some of the, I guess, grapes or fruit back to, I think this is her grandpa over here, she feeds the grapes to him, and he just immediately starts shrinking, loses all of that weight. And here he is, just all of his weight gone, looking very healthy again. And yeah, that's where the story ends. So it's a very strange one. I'm not sure what the purpose or the message behind this was. It's just feeding, like the dinosaur fossils seemed very out of place too. I'm not sure what the significance of that is in the story, but I really do like the art style of Haga Yuka a lot. Definitely got to get onto reading her tankobon. But I know that Haga Yuka debuted in Garo in 1983, so this year. So this issue features a lot of new mangaka that have joined Garo. So that's a very interesting thing. It's also why it's really cool as well, just to see the starting stages of all these mangaka as well. But yeah, for me as well, starting off with the 60s and 70s stuff, getting into the 80s issues, completely different. So very new experience, but a very fun one as well. So the next story that I'll move on to is I'll skip the first page of it. It's a story by Takashi Nemoto, who you might know as the mangaka who does a lot of Heta-uma works, is very sort of at the forefront of that movement. In this story, it's called Dad's Birthday. Nemoto Takeshi is normally known for very crude drawings with a lot of genitalia, just dick sticking out everywhere. In this story, it doesn't actually have that too much, although the cover page did have a dick sticking out. In this case, weirdly not, which I'm not used to at all. I'm just used to seeing the craziest shit from Nemoto's works. But I don't really understand this story either. It's just because I couldn't really translate it properly. But it seems to be that we have this character, our main character, going to get some ice cream with some man's daughter, and they have like an outing together. That's all I can really say. I'm not too sure exactly what happens from that point on. But yeah, it was just very surprising to see a Nemoto work that wasn't crazy at all. But just to give some background as well, he debuted in 1981 in Garo. Also published in Axe when that came out. Pretty big name for Heta-uma. Some other facts about him. So he has kids. I did not know that. He has kids. He was friends with the Kobe cannibal, which is to me just insane. There's also pictures of them together. I think he did an interview with the Kobe cannibal. And I always reference this, but he once did a manga using like autopsy photos of like of corpses, and he instead of drawing out the faces of the characters, he would just paste the corpse photos and use that for a gag manga. I keep forgetting which tankobon it was exactly from, but that's just like he's one of the wildest mangaka I've encountered in general. So just letting you know about that. And also he was also inspired by Garo when he was like young, like when he was 15, reading Garo. That was how he sort of knew about the magazine and debuted in it. So that's pretty cool though. Like at this point in the 80s, seeing artists debut and join Garo after knowing about it and learning about the magazine when it was in its 60s and 70s prime, and actually just like becoming a part of the portfolio of artists who contribute to this is very cool to see. But yeah, that is I'll flick through the rest of the Nemoto chapter, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened after that as well. So we'll move on to the next chapter here. This is another mangaka that I've never heard of before. I'm not even sure how to pronounce their name. This is their name here. If anyone does know how to pronounce that, please put a comment below. Maybe something like Emu. I'm not sure whether that's correct or not, but it's a story called Cherry Blossoms. And I'll try to look up information about this person. Not much I could find. There were only 2 one-shots that they published in Garo, and that was in the year of 1983, this one being one of them. And you'll find that, I think I mentioned before, you'll find that with Garo and other magazines in general, you might have seen manga that have only published like 1 or 2 one-shots in the magazine's entirety and have just disappeared. So yeah, you might see that sometimes. It's unfortunate because I really like the story as well. Cherry Blossoms is about a man who meets a very mysterious woman under the cherry blossoms. And what happens is that they both get together and they sleep together. And there's a really cool panel here of these tattoos. Got like a bird and flowers on the woman's back. So they sleep together, but when the man wakes up, she is gone, and all that remains is just these cherry blossom petals. So a very magical one, very short one, just a couple of pages as well, but effective. and memorable. So yeah, continuing on, this is another mangaka that I'm not really, I don't think I've seen any other manga before. This one is something called Blue Admonition by a mangaka that I'm not sure how to pronounce, how to pronounce the name. This is their kanji for their name here. Toma Masao or Toma Tarakazu, maybe. Again, if you do know how to pronounce this, please put a comment below because I'm not too entirely sure. This one was also a very interesting one too. We've got this little boy here who is spending his time whacking some flies, having a lot of fun with it. So as you can see here, just whacking 40 of them all at once. So here he is just eating ice cream. I think this is his sister that pops up, but someone hits him up here, and it turns out it's this fly policeman who tells him to pretty much stop hitting. Was it stop hitting? No, okay, I remember now. So what he does, my bad, I just remembered. What he does is that he has like a ice cream where he licks and eats all the ice cream off, and his plan is to leave the ice cream stick on the ground to like bait all of these flies. And then this is where the fly policeman comes up and says, no, you're not doing that. And also on the stick as well, I think it says like winner, like you know how you can sometimes win prizes for it. The insect creature says that no, that's theirs, something along the lines of that. Takes the sister hostage, and he goes back to find, I believe, a weapon to duel. Yeah, a weapon to duel the insect creature so that he can win his sister back. But the next day he goes out, finds that he's tiny, like the size of a fly, gets trapped by the same trap that he wanted to put out for the flies, and is subject to the same fate that he was dealing beforehand. But it turns out that he was just being a daydreamer. He was just dreaming out the whole thing. He was just sitting there the whole time, just imagining things. So that was very funny though, how things transpired from the very first page of him just whacking flies, and the weird fly cop that popped up. But I enjoyed this one too. It was really funny. So another mangaka again that I know pretty much nothing about. This mangaka debuted in 1982 in Garo. So the first one shot was then. So we'll move on to the next chapter. This is Shinkirari, chapter 8 by Yamada Murasaki, which is actually, let me pull that up now. Shinkirari is actually just the Japanese name for Talk to My Back. So it's a chapter 8 of this translated work here, Talk to My Back, Yamada Murasaki, published by Jordan Quarterly, and translated by Ryan Holmberg. So I'll just flip through this here just to give an idea of what Yamada's works looks like. I'm still reading through this, only just started. But yeah, I can't really give a comment on what it is about because again, it is a chapter 8 of a serialized, a longer work. So I will just show off instead the art. And also recently I learned that Yamada Murasaki, along with 2 other female mangaka by the name, so we have Kondo Youko and Hinako Sugiura. The 3 of them were sort of dubbed the 3 daughters of Garo, which is pretty cool. A pretty cool label and name for them. And they're not the only trio that came out of Garo. Well, we also had the 3 crows of Garo, the 1, 2, 3 trio that was dubbed as well. That was Mazuzo Furukawa, Oji Suzuki, and Shinichi Abe, 3 Gekiga artists that were pretty prominent in the 70s. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see like the female mangaka in Garo getting recognized, because Yamada Murasaki, we've got two works that are published in English right now. Kondo Youko, nothing yet, unfortunately. I have read 2 of her tankobon. Very, very good. Love her works. Does amazing like drama, slice of life works, romance works. And Hinako Sugiura, I have not read anything from them yet, but they have a very interesting background, which is that they were an Edo period researcher and scholar. So manga was just one of the outlets that they had for their research. What they've normally done, or their main thing, was that they did a lot of like research and essays on the Edo period. So that's really cool to see that they also found an outlet of manga at some point. They didn't do manga for their entire career, just did it for a specific period, but it's really cool to see these female manga popping up, because again, with Garo, starting from the 60s to 70s, very male dominated. The only female contributor for a long time was Tsurita Kuniko. So yeah, very male dominated until probably I would say the 80s. From that point on, it started to get a little bit better, and then moving on to acts, it's improved. Like right now, at least, we've got a good set of female mangaka as well. So yeah, it's just good to see variety. And again, with this 80s issues, we can see that very clearly with all of the manga featured in this issue. And something to mention as well, as we get into the later decades of Garo, you'll see a lot more manga being featured, sometimes like double the amount. So in the 60s and 70s, you would have way less manga being featured. Each story would be a lot longer, like 20-30 pages. In this case, in the 80s and onwards, you see a lot more mangaka with shorter stories as well. So you get a wider variety of artists, but the one-shots can sometimes be only a couple pages. So just pointing out that difference as well. So we move on to another story here that is titled Pagachinu by Kotaro, who is apparently a rakugo storyteller on top of being a manga artist. So rakugo is that, how do I describe it? I forgot exactly what it was. It's like that performance art of storytelling that the Japanese have, where it's just some guy sitting at the front and he or she is like telling a story in the rakugo way. You can search it up on YouTube, but apparently they were a rakugo storyteller. So they did a bunch of works in Garo, first published in 1981, but I can't really tell you what's happening here. I didn't really understand it, but it does seem like some gag sort of story. But yeah, if you look at this here, as I was saying before, only 4 pages. So very short works in the 80s and onwards. But, you know, it's compensated by the wider variety of mangaka that you can meet and experience in all these issues. So the next one is a story called Nobi's Confession by Osawa Masaaki. Debuted in 1981 in Garo. Another mangaka and story that mangaka I don't really know about. Story, I have no idea what happened in the story. So I apologize that I can't really explain what happened. So I'll just showcase the art. Here we've got the very uniform paneling as well, just 6 panels on each page. But yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what happens here. So make of it what you will. Seems to get arrested in the last one as well. Interesting. Okay, so we move on to a name that we are, if you watched other videos on my channel, are probably familiar with. This is a story that is titled Bright Town by Ebisu Yoshikazu, another Heta-uma mangaka. In this case, it's a story about a beggar who gets angry at high school girls for giving him like the lowest denomination of coins. Here he is, the beggar there. He's only getting the lowest coins, and there is a scene, no, not this one here. This is him getting angry. Just have to be careful. Let me just, for some reason, they all start getting naked. I don't know why. Zero idea. You've got the iconic Ebisu UFO flying saucer going around, but he just gets even angrier. So I'm thinking like, I don't know what is going on, but it's kind of funny the way that everything is happening, and he gets in trouble by the police. He just whacks all the coins into the faces. But yeah, oh, I did not realize I will have to censor this because it's photography. But yeah, Ebisu Yoshikazu, if you don't know him, debuted in Garo 1973, does Heta Uma works. Also very funny that he was a TV personality as well. Extremely different to the vibe that his stories give off in the manga that he makes, but yeah, always great to see an Ebisu chapter. So the next section is not actually a manga, it's photography. So later on in Garo, they started to include more photography, and I'll show you just some cases here. This is a section of photographs by Nobuyoshi Araki, who did a lot of erotic and bondage photography, which I obviously cannot show in this video at all, but just letting you know that yeah, photography did become more, I wouldn't say it became prominent, it just appeared more in Garo over the later years. So that was there, that's cool. Then you've also, as I mentioned before when I was talking about Yamada Murasaki, this is a chapter by Kondo Youko, who actually was Murasaki's assistant at one point. So it's really cool that, you know, after being an assistant for Murasaki, Kondo Youko branched out and did her own works, and she published a ton of work. So I'm very happy that I have tons of her stuff to read, because I've only read 2 tankobon, she's done plenty. So that's really cool. This one here is a one-shot that is titled Cool Ski, like ski as in SKI. And what it is that a woman, she heads to the beach to meet a past lover that had proposed to her 3 years ago. She got a call by them for some reason. And that's pretty much all it is. And she just wonders why, after 3 years, that they had caught her again. And so she's just on this beach, no one there, and it just ends like that. So very interesting. It's more of like a atmospheric one shot than anything, one that just makes you think about the emotions that this woman would be feeling about being contacted by a lover that you haven't seen for 3 years, that they proposed to you, something might have gone wrong, who knows. It's just a chapter that I think aims to just portray the emotions more than anything, rather than the plot itself. So that was really cool. Kondo Youko, I will eventually do a video on like one of her works by itself, but she debuted in Garo in 1979. So we're nearly there. Still got a ton of stories to actually go through, but this mangaka, if you have watched the 60s and 70s Garo issue videos, this is Nagashima Shinji. This is a story in his new Manga Folktales series. This one is about, I really love his cute style here. Nagashima Shinji was a very prolific mangaka, contributed tons to Garo. This is about this old man here who is a bit lazy, drops his onigiri, and finds a cave of mice. And what he does is he's fed by them, he's taken great care by the mice, but he's very greedy, steals some gold from them. So he steals the gold, and in this case, if we go on here, he tells his friend about it. Friend goes in and is attacked by the mice. Runs out. Here it is. I think the mice actually eat him up. Eat the man's friend up. But yeah, so unfortunate for this guy here, he took the brunt of everything and was eaten up by the mice, while the lazy old man just is lucky and he gets to live freely with the gold that he stole. So whether he's lucky or not, maybe it's just because he had cats. Maybe that's why he survived. But yeah, unfortunate ending for the man there. So interesting one. Nagashima Shinji, also a fun fact about him, he was an assistant to Tezuka Osamu. He debuted as a mangaka in 1952. 1952, very early on. So Nagashima Shinji has done a ton of works. It's also interesting to note as well that despite, I don't remember the exact year, I believe it's around the early 1970s that Garo stopped paying manuscript fees. So beforehand, Garo would pay mangaka by the page to submit a work. But from, I would say 1970s, I'll have to check again. I'm not sure where I read it before, probably in a Holmberg essay. From that point on in the 1970s, they stopped paying mangaka to submit work. So it was purely just like on a project of passion that mangaka submitted their works to Garo. And also because Garo was, a place that emphasized and focused on an expression of freedom. So I guess that still kept the magazine going despite the lack of fees. So yeah, interesting to know. And Nagashima Shinji contributed and continued to contribute from that point onwards. So yeah, let's move on to the next story. This one is a story titled Surgeon Lady. Again, I'm not sure how to pronounce this mangaka's name. Never heard of them before. But seems to be a story about a woman who gets with other men to satisfy her desire after her husband passed away. Pretty simple story, and again, only just a couple of pages long. So now we move to the second last story, which is this story is one of my favorite one-shots that I've read in Garo in general, out of everything I've read so far. This is a story titled The Landscape with Cows by Kanno Osamu. So Kanno Osamu debuted in Yagyo in 1973. So Yagyo was a manga magazine that popped up in once Takano Shinzo, who was an editor of Garo, he left in 1971 or 2 because of there was a sort of conflict with, or alleged conflict with editor Nagai Katsuichi. So for one of Tsuge Tadao's stories, he included a picture of the emperor. I think it was like a satire or a criticism to it. Katsuichi Nagai wanted to censor it. So in the actual Garo issue that came out, the panel was completely blank. In the tankobon that was released in English, I think it was Trash Market, you have the full panel there. So in Homer's essay, it sort of explains what happens with that, and Takano Shinzo did not like that Nagai Katsuichi censored that specific part of the story. So that was an alleged reason why he left and created his own publishing house, Hokuto Shobo. And Yagyo was a manga magazine that housed similar... sorry, my voice is kind of dying today. But Yagyo was housing similar mangaka that you would see in Garo, like Tsuge Yoshiharu and Hayashi Seiichi. I have shown off a Yagyo issue beforehand, but Kanno Osamu debuted in that in 1973. And this specific story is an amazing one. It focuses on identity, sexuality, mental illness as well. I have also shown off the tankobon local train afternoon by Kanno Osamu as well on the channel. So if you want to check that out, really cool one as well. In this case, what this story is about is we follow Masako. So she is the wife to this man over here. Her husband is currently in the hospital for neurosis, and what's happening is that Masako is calling her mother-in-law to update her about her son's conditions. So while she is doing that, she is observing the place that they're staying at. Seems to be a lot of cows in the area. And you can tell that from reading the dialogue and the speech from the mother. The mother is an excessive warrior, worries so much about her son to the point where it becomes annoying. But what we get revealed is that here, what was happening and what was like one of the reasons why her husband was hospitalized, because at some point he acted and decided to be a cow. He wanted to be a cow. He started doing these things and dressing up with these horns. And there's also a confession as well that Masako knew her husband was gay too. And that gives a lot of insight into their relationship. But now our main focus is on the husband who is wanting to be a cow. And we've also got this very strange sort of one-page panel of like a dinosaur, and maybe like I'm not sure who these people are. Maybe it's the husband when he was a kid, something like that. Very strange, but I love that style of manga and of gekiga in general. Just these very strange panels that pop up. Very Oji Suzuki, like that vibe, and also like Shinichi Abe as well. But yeah, the story is about how he wants to be a cow, and the cow obsession might have originated from the cows that he saw while staying at the hospital. So it is a very interesting thing as well, because when Masako thinks about her husband wanting to become a cow, she's actually okay with it, because the reasoning and one of the things that is discussed is that cows, they don't fight wars, they don't hurt people, they just exist and survive. So at the end of the day, if he wants to be a cow, what's wrong with that? He's not hurting anybody. He wants to be what he wants to be. And this is a really beautiful panel of just him, the hospital, and the cows. So the entire time she's just still talking to the mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is just annoying at this point. And yeah, it just ends with pretty much her accepting what her husband wants to be. And the reason why I loved this one shot so much was because it was such a unique way to tackle identity. In terms of my experience of reading other works that focus on identity as well, becoming a cow is such a unique way to express how what someone does shouldn't, if it's not affecting anyone else, it shouldn't really be tearing people apart, shouldn't be tearing families apart. Masako has come to realize that her husband is not hurting anybody. He just wants to be what he wants to be, and what is wrong with that? And so, as well as it does tap upon a little bit about sexuality with her husband being gay as well, there's also the whole side of mental illness, others perceiving the husband as being mentally ill, and that being a subjective thing. What is ill in the sense of this story? What is wrong? Is it wrong to really think like this, if he's not hurting anybody, if he just wants to be what he wants to be? And also family as well. Family being such a big pressure when it comes to identity and sexuality as well. Figuring out what you want to be without triggering your entire family or the people you love. The mother is like a really big part of that, because she's just so annoying in the way that she just keeps asking about her son, is he fine and all that, blah blah blah. It seems like she is worrying about him and cares about him a lot, but I think in a way that actually does the opposite, where it can be detrimental to him. It can be detrimental in the way that she's putting so much pressure on her son and forcing him to conform to be someone who is quote unquote normal. So yeah, tons of just different things to think about in this one shot here that made me love it so much. So Landscape with Cows, an amazing one shot. I don't have the tankobon that includes this one shot yet. I think it's coming in maybe like 2 weeks or so, so that'll be pretty cool. I am collecting a lot of the tankobon that Kanno Osamu has put out because I love pretty much everything about his works. The storytelling, the art, the themes that he explores as well, just amazing. So yeah, Kanno Osamu is one of my favorite discoveries from Garo, and I will see more of him in Yagyo as well because I'm collecting those issues too. So yeah, amazing story. So now we move on to the last story, which this one I can't, like, very big contrast to this story here. I don't know what's happening in this last one. So it's a story that is titled There Is an Exit by Morimoto something. Again, a manga that I don't really know about. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I think just their last name, their family name's Morimoto. That's all I can read. What I can guess is that this guy wakes up to find 5 doors connected to his room, and each of the doors has a family member in it, I think. Not entirely sure what happens. A police guy comes through and just drags him out, and that's about it. I don't know what happened there, honestly. I have no idea what happened in that story, but yeah, and that's the end of this 19 was. I think these are like fan illustrations. Got some adverts by Keisei Comics as well. Keisei published a couple of Garo mangaka in their catalog. Oh my god, this is crazy. Alright, so I've got an advert for Kondo Youko, but an advert for Yoshikazu Ebisu as well. Nantonaku Pinpin. Is that a tankobon? I think so, but that's just crazy. That advert there. But yeah, so that was the 1983 August issue of Garo. I should have also zoomed up on this as well. This is for the cover art. Yeah, quite a different one compared to the Garo issues I normally go through. We'll try to go through more 80s, 90s stuff as well. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed that one. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.